There's a whole bunch of things that we can do to change. It's so easy. That's the thing, it's so easy. And what we're not doing is having discussions with strangers.
I'm a two-time survivor of police brutality.
I used to walk all of Eugene, and now I'm scared to walk out of my house.
The rioting can stop, the burning can stop, the smashing can stop. But when does the brutality against our fellow Americans and institutionalized racism stop?
We want equality! The real equality!
I'm here to make sure it doesn't happen to somebody else.
Hey, my name is Troy. Welcome to Applying Principles. This is the first time I've done any interview stuff out of a political thing, but I felt really inspired to do it. So here I am. I got my setup here. I'm gonna head out and see what happens. Let's go. So can I ask, why are you down here today?
I'm a two-time survivor of police brutality. I've been beaten almost twice to death by the police in Montgomery County, Maryland, and Springfield, Oregon.
Oh yeah? Well, that's unfortunate.
So I've been watching this all go on across the country. I think it's a real time to really show our solidarity. Today I wrote a story. It corresponded to my father's work. My father marched in Selma, Alabama with Dr. King.
Awesome.
And he was there after Bloody Sunday. So he didn't know if there was going to be violence. And I kind of see the attack, the protest turning riot, destruction of property on Friday night as the Bloody Sunday.
Yeah.
And all across the country, we're seeing the Bloody Sunday of Selma. And now if we can all get together and walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge and decide that we are willing to step into violence, we're seeing these stories all across the country. The little girl who got maced in Seattle, the young lady who got slammed down to the pavement in New York City, and we've seen the attacks on medic stations by the police. We've also seen the terrible looting and rioting that's gone on at the same time as an expression of outrage, because they didn't listen to us when we kneeled. They didn't listen to us while we were marching in peaceful protest, and now everybody's listening.
Yeah.
So we can stop, as I say we, as all of us are out here marching. The rioting can stop, the burning can stop, the smashing can stop. But when does the brutality against our fellow Americans and institutionalized racism stop? It's got to stop. So for me, being a two-time survivor, just being out here, just talking about it, makes me shake a little bit. I've been having a terrible time over the last couple of days. But if people are out here willing to risk their lives, that's the significance of the death of the public lynching of George Floyd. When my father years ago was at Selma and saw for the very first time that the white Christians and the Jews and the evangelicals all marched side by side for the very first time with King, and the violence stopped. So that's the significance of what you're seeing, is all across the nation, even in small towns like Eugene, from New York to Minneapolis, where I have lots of family, to Chicago, St. Louis. There's a list of probably 20 different cities that are all marching. This is the significance of what's going on today.
And what do you think what would you like to see as the next steps forward to come from this?
It's got to come on a multi-stage level, I believe, not just from the very communities who are willing to say we've had enough, and instituting new laws that put into check the police. I don't think internal investigations by the police is enough. My beating in Springfield happened after I had started an internal investigation, and they wanted to let me know that I had no voice. 1990 was my very first beating, and there was none of this going on. It was silent. Yeah. So if we go on a local level and we work together with our legislators to create new laws for new reviews of police brutality, on the state level, we also work with those legislators. We create a movement. And on the national level, We can even hear Bernie Sanders putting in a bill to have every police killing reviewed by the DOJ. It's time that we find a way to create transparency and end the brutality and institutionalized racism. Now, this just isn't about black people. It's about white people. It's about Hispanic people. It's about Asian people. It's time to call for an end. And I don't think we're going to stop marching until that end comes.
Yeah. And do you think the rioting will slow down or stop with that? Or what do you think that we're going
Like I said, at any time, the burning, the looting, the rioting can stop. But when does it stop with the brutality and the murder of our fellow citizens? Those two have to stop at the same time.
Yeah.
We can always keep coming out and marching, and that's the true voice of Satyagraha, which is founded by Gandhi and followed up by King, the willingness to put yourself in the way of violence. All these people know they're willing to put themselves in the way of violence, to be out here to speak and to have the right voice sent out to this local community and the entire nation. We've seen officers all over across the country speak out against the lynching of George Floyd. We've seen politicians speak out against the lynching of George Floyd. We've seen celebrities speak out against the lynching of George Floyd.
Yeah.
We have also seen the other side, where lines like "let the shooting starts when the looting starts."
Yeah, I do have to say it's the one point that this George Floyd, his murder was kind of the one unequivocal fact that all political factions kind of agreed on.
We want equality! The real equality!
So what are you doing out here today? What brings you out?
I'm coming out to support my black friends. Yeah, and hopefully see justice. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And what are you hoping to see come from this?
What I'd like to see come from this is an increase of justice, mercy, and I think some equality for people. Yeah.
I mean, how would you like to see that come about?
In particular, I think the qualities that we are wanting to see are fruits of the kingdom of God, but we want them without the king. And so I think the way that we're going to see the fruits of what we're all hoping for, which is justice and mercy for people, is when we yield our lives to the King, King Jesus. And in the yielding of our lives to Him, we'll see the fruit of His kingdom, and it'll get played out as a byproduct. So I think that's partly part of the solution.
What brings you out today?
Good for love the movement.
Yeah.
Love everybody here for a reason, for the right intentions. But I feel right here, people need numbers. People want to feel together.
Thank you so much for the water.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's why I'm here.
What are you hoping to see come from all this?
Honestly, I only put hope for the best, for like the future. It's all we can hope for. Change has always been slow, so we just gotta keep pushing.
What brings you out today?
Me personally, equality for every person, because we're all brothers and sisters, and we all deserve happiness and freedom. It's the home of the brave, land of the free, but it doesn't seem too free to be.
Just here for justice and love. I think the way that people showed their love the last couple of days wasn't the right way. And I believe that we all got to stand together and fight for equality. And that's all that matters right now.
Sweet.
Love one another like it was your family, you know? Because like this is all we have. We only have one earth, and it's beautiful.
I hear that. Yeah. Were you guys out last couple nights, or?
No, we don't go out at night. We're out here in the day all day long.
I hear that.
Protesting love, man. That's all we get. All we got is love.
Peacefully.
Sweet.
That's all that we got is peace.
Yeah.
First off, I would like to say, holy shit. by the amount of people that are here today. I have never, for at least the few years I've lived in Eugene, seen this many people come out, and for something like this, I am just proud. I'm Madeline Smith, and this is my brother Spencer Smith, and we're the organizers. Of course, before we march, I know social distancing is going to be hard, but those of you who are masked up, thank you. If you do not have masks, there are people here who are giving them out. Take them, please, if you are offered. I would also like to say that there will be counter-protesters. There are with any protest. If you see them, if they speak to you, do not engage. You are above it. You are better than that. I want all of you to be safe, and what they want you to do is engage to give them a reason to take that safety away. And I'm not here for it.
Don't be a bystander, be an upstander. This is things that I've been doing for years.
We already know that you are aware, you are woke. That's why we're here. It's time for us to organize. It's time for us to strategize. How do we do that? Vote. Vote. Run for election. From school board to governor.
I came out here because I was raised in Eugene, Oregon as a minority. I experienced a lot of racism. I experienced a different type of racism. I was the only black kid in a class. And as a child, I was ostracized, obviously, in elementary school. Anytime I acted out, you know, it was immediate attention. Not because I was louder or different than other kids, but because I stood out because I was black. But as I got older, and more black, I was raised by a single white mother, by the way, and I have a twin brother, and and I had a half brother who was white, who was 6 years older than us. He got addicted to meth at 12 years old. We grew up in Section 8 housing in poverty. I grew up very whitewashed. I grew up trying to assimilate to fit into the culture that was a part of my surroundings. So as I grew up and more black people moved into Eugene, I found myself in a limbo. I found myself not accepted by my black community, who I immediately reached out to, when I saw people like me, I wanted to be nice to them and I wanted them to like me. And they picked on me and they said I was whitewashed. And I went to my white friends and they picked on me and they said I wasn't black enough. Every race told me I wasn't black enough. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just white people saying you're not black. So the stereotype, the idea, the way that I was treated, on the expectations that people had about me. And I smiled and I laughed my entire life to these people, to my friends. My white friends took their white friends on traveling trips. They didn't take me to Hawaii. I didn't ever see that passport, but I was at your house every day. But you weren't allowed to play with me and my brothers. You know, so this was our experience as a child. And when you look at it and you talk about this city, I support Black Lives Matter, but I want a solution. You're telling me to vote? Well, voting just happened. The DA in Eugene has been the DA for 20 years. You want to fix the problem? I grew up with this man. He lived in my house because he had nowhere to live. My mother let him in. Take care, Anthony. So it's just, if you're not gonna come to a protest and have discussions and offer a solution, then you're protesting to get attention. You're not protesting for the right reason. And if you I don't want attention. I want people to love each other. I don't give a fuck about females. I don't care about money. I just quit. I almost quit my job, but they love me so much they don't want me to quit. So I have a job, but I'm not gonna pay my rent. I'm not gonna keep supporting businesses. I'm not gonna keep going into this capitalist structure that was created from colonial rule. It is a system, and it's a system of oppression, and if you complain about it, what is the solution? You have to break down the system. How do you break down the system? You get rid of the old heads in the system. You ask them to step down, and if they're real leaders, because they know the civil unrest. If I was a leader in this city, if I was a leader in any city right now, I would say to my people, do you want me to step down? Would it make you better if I stepped down? Would it make it better if we had interim elections? Would it make it better if I offered an interim solution to policing? Because let's say cahoots grows, and we have cahoots here. We have crisis management. So you have an alternative already to law enforcement, and you're not taking that solution and you're not putting it on the platform. All you're doing is complaining. So what's the solution? That's all. That's why I'm here.
Your grandparents have been through a real revolution. Your grandparents have fought in a real war. We fought against oppression. You think this is fascism? You are literally doing what these people want you to do.
Yeah, they are. This is what they want. They want this.
You're doing the right fucking way! You're doing you gotta I'm 29 and I'm disappointed as fuck.
Then why are you here? Then go home! Why are you here? Go home! I will pay someone to punch this dude in the face. I will pay someone to punch him.
You don't have to do non-violence.
Then why are you here? Why are you here?
And you're not.
I'll pay you $50 to go punch that man.
I'm not gonna punch him. So I saw you on the live stream on Friday, and it looked like people were not appreciating your input.
I think they were. Sometimes that nonverbal communication, sometimes that face of shame means a lot more, because a lot of people that are here today and a lot of people that were at that protest want to see what's going on. They're not mad about Black Lives Matter, it doesn't hurt them, but they are mad about the condition of the world. They're really mad about it. The whole world is upset. We have been living in so much paradise. Everyone in this country has been living off the backs of people in Africa and the backs of people in South America and the backs of people in China. China has raised so many people out of poverty that we have no idea the image that we see of that. With the rest of the world is trying to get out of poverty, and we're sitting here and we're complaining about because we can't even, like, we're the reason they're in poverty. Like, I'm wearing a Nike shirt right now, man. You know what I'm saying? So what are the solutions? Stop spending money on stop giving your money to corporations that fuel the colonialism. It's a systematic problem. Yeah, someone did call me a slave. I think he was talking. I talked to him afterwards. And I also talked to the kid who threatened to hit me in the head with a rock. And you know, there's a lot of passion in these young people. They're really, really misguided because their lives have been more comfortable than any other person's, and they really don't understand where their future lies. Because as people get older and the lifespan of people gets longer, people stay in positions of power longer. So we don't have this constant influx of new leaders. And so the young people in my generation, the millennials, there was no positions for me to take. I had to wait for somebody to die so that I could get that position. And the truth is, we don't need to work that much. We don't need to work that much. We are being tricked into using our bodies to fuel that colonial system. It is a system of oppression. So where you spend your dollar, I implore everyone here to empty your bank accounts. Stop spending money on shit. Like, stop spending fucking money. If you want change, don't go and spend money on anything. Because even if you buy at the mom and pop store, where do they get their supplies, you know? Fix the supply chain, fix the distribution channels. Get your city and your community to make and produce goods and cut them out. That's how you fix racism. Like, honestly, it's a colonial issue. It's colonialism. It's the last 200, 300, 400 years of history. And we had a chance to change it in World War II. We did. We had a president who stood for the common man and he died. And then we got a neo-fascist. So this is the chance again. We're looking at World War III potentially in some sort of cyber warfare thing, you know. The country is accusing Russia 5 years ago interfering in elections. We know China steals intellectual property. We are competing right now globally for a stance in the world, and we are losing because we are like we're fools. We have grown so comfortable. We have grown so accustomed to the way that we live. We really won't change it. It's so easy, like literally if every single person, every single motherfucker said, I'm gonna stop doing it, then it would happen overnight. We could literally change the world overnight. But then you wanna have these types of, you get this momentum going, you get this idea, and then you have this, which brings complacency, because everyone can walk away from this feeling like they did something, like they came, all these white kids, I did something, so now I'm gonna go back to my apathy. Don't go back to apathy. We don't wanna go back to normal. Coronavirus said all one thing. We're all here because we would rather die of coronavirus than let the world go on being the way that it is. I would rather die, and that's why I'm here.
And what kind of solutions would you like to see come from this?
Man, let's talk about, because we're here for Black Lives Matter, let's talk about police brutality. We have cahoots here in Eugene. We have crisis management, okay? So when you go to somebody who's angry or they're afraid or they're experiencing mental conditions, and you change your body language, and you look at that person and you think about what it's like to be them, like what is it really like? Even a racist, even my Donald Trump supporting friends, well, whoever. What is it like to be the other person in their shoes? And if you can't figure it out, then you better ask questions and you better close your eyes and you better ask God to tell you what it's like to be other people. Because if we have compassion, if our law enforcement is a bunch of compassionate huggers without weapons, what are they gonna do when they show up and someone's having a mental health crisis? They don't have a gun to shoot nobody, so they have to use their compassion. And the other thing is, generally it's called public servants, but the people who become police officers choose to do so. So what's the solution to that? Make it something you don't choose. Why is civic service not mandatory in our country? Why can I be a young person and get away with giving nothing back when I was born into one of the best paradises in the world? Like, are you kidding me? Every person should be demanded to be a part of civics. Every person should be demanded to be a part of whatever law enforcement. So take these young kids that are scared and lost, they don't know what to do, and make them all law enforcement officers. There's a whole bunch of things that we can do to change. It's so easy. That's the thing, it's so easy. And what we're not doing is having discussions with strangers. People are afraid to talk to each other, and the coronavirus didn't change that. People were already afraid, because I know, because I have a big mouth and I talk to every person I see all the time. I love talking to strangers, and every time they see me, they're like, whoa, who's this guy? I can't walk up to a stranger on the bus and be like, hey man, how's your day, you know? They'll be like, what does this guy want from me? Compassion. What's it like to be in your shoes?
One thing I always like to say is try to take time out of your schedule to talk with people you disagree with.
Oh, that's the only people you should be talking with. One of my buddies on Facebook today was trying to have a conversation with me about something, and we agree on everything. And I said, dude, I don't have time to have a conversation with somebody I agree with. And that's the point. So I implore everyone today who sees this video or is watching to go and ask somebody that they don't know what they think about the general state of the world. Because this is one issue that's caused by the root problem, which is consumerism, colonialism. It's not the capital market. Free markets can exist with monopolies. Free markets can exist with regulation. But you can't take people that are in the corporations that sell the goods or produce the resources and ask them to do the regulation. You have to take the kids graduating out of college and make them do civics. Make them work the positions that regulate their country. And then when they're done with civics, they can go do whatever they want to do. They can jump into the free market and start a business. You know, we really do need every single person to work for the country. It doesn't have to be communism. Like, the people that say that just don't know anything about government systems and economic systems. So we need to educate people. One thing that makes me so mad is that one of the highest paid officials in Eugene is the fucking football coach. What the fuck? I don't want to go to a stadium to watch football anymore. I want all these people to go to a stadium and have big ass discussions. How about we hold our elections in person? How about we all go to Hayward Field and talk about the problems that we're experiencing? You know, it's so hard to make people communicate. We have so much autonomy, so much selfishness. So And we can't fix it. The young kids, these 20-year-olds coming out of school at the U of O, they need to fix it. How do we get them to fix it? Man, first, like, let them know that the U of O is kind of fucking them. The U of O is fucking this whole city in that ass, kind of, man. Like, if you want reform and change in this city, educate all these people. Give them education resources. Like when COVID-19 came and you knew that education was going on to an online platform, but you didn't see the end of tuition at private institutions or public, let's be real, public, not public, public institutions, you know that there's a problem in education. And education needs reform just as much as everything else. So this is a challenge to my city, to the U of O. Make education for your citizens of Eugene free. Offer me an education, send me to law school, and I will help repair your city. Send me to law school and I will help repair your city. And if you've been in power for more than 4 or 5 years, get the out of office, or at least raise someone else to take your spot that came from a position of poverty or came from a position that wasn't affluence. Because when you are raised in affluence, when you go through life affluent, if somebody doesn't smack you in the face and wake you up and say your life is easy, then you're gonna go be a privileged little bitch. That's what it is. So we need to take people who have had little or nothing, and we need to raise them up, because those are the people that actually value human life. They know what it's like to have nothing.
Here's my medical papers from the hospital that show that I literally had to go to the hospital. I'm still in extreme pain. I have pain every day. I'm not able to sleep. I haven't been able to sleep since it happened. I took a walk on April 17th around 10:30 in the morning because I was having a really bad day. And over by Autzen Stadium back in the trails. And I went and I had a seat and set off to the side where I could just be by the freeway because the sound was soothing to me, kind of like a white noise. And the police pulled me over and they asked me if I was okay, and I told them yes, that I was just having a really bad day. Just having a really bad day. I mean, I got out here, I'm new out here, I don't know anything out here, I don't know anyone out here. I came out here for a short period of time, just a couple of weeks, and the day I was supposed to go home, my house burnt down in Ohio. I was very cooperative. I explained to them my situation. I asked them, you know, I just wanted to continue on my journey. The lieutenant came over and decided that he was going to arrest me, well, detain me. He didn't actually arrest me. There was no arrest because I wasn't doing anything illegal. Simply because I didn't want to give my name and my information as to where I lived because I was concerned. I was scared because there were people all around me. All these officers came out of nowhere and I was scared. And so I was trying to explain to them that I didn't need their assistance. I wasn't interested in their assistance. I was close enough to home and I just wanted to continue on my journey. They took my phone. They handcuffed me after I told them that I have a severe neck injury, spinal injury, and that my body doesn't contort the way they were trying to contort me. They contorted my body, pushed me back through a fence onto the freeway, put me into a cop car. Without my phone, I asked for counsel. They wouldn't let me get my phone to call my attorney. They wouldn't let me get my phone to call my family. They put me in the back of a car encased in plastic with spit all over the plastic, which I'm a germaphobe, I'm claustrophobic, and I have asthma, and which it caused me extreme anxiety because it was so hot. And they rolled up the window, and all the officers, I'm approximating about 14 officers. Oh, they're fighting. Approximately 14 officers decided to stand around and watch me as I begged for air and I couldn't breathe. And no one would help me. No one would help me to get any air. And when they finally rolled down the window, they rolled down the window this much. So with my arms cuffed behind my back where I could not get my air because my chest was open and I already couldn't breathe, I had to somehow maneuver myself up to the top of the window to suck air out of the top of the window while I prayed to God and screamed, please, I don't want to die. I want to see my kids and my family again. And they just wouldn't let me get any air. For no reason. I did nothing illegal. I did nothing immoral. I did nothing but take a walk. And they decided that they were going to impose upon me their own will. To put my life at risk with no regard for me, under the guise that they were going to try and get me help that I didn't need or ask for. And I explained to them over and over again I was of sound mind and body, that I was perfectly capable of making my own choices and decisions, and I didn't want to be removed from where I was. They took me to the hospital and walked me into the respiratory care without a mask. They put my life at risk to catch the COVID as the nurses yelled and screamed to get me out of there. And they walked me around and put me in the psychiatric side, where the nurse and the doctor and the emergency care counselor said I should have never been brought there, as I did nothing wrong. Taking a walk was a healthy choice. To vent out what I was going through. And every time that I see that video of that man on the ground trying to lift himself up to catch air, it's just devastating, because I know how he felt before he took his last breath. There's nothing worse than knowing that you can't breathe because someone else won't let you. No one needs to go through that. No one deserves to go through that. I used to walk all of Eugene, and now I'm scared to walk out of my house. My boss and some of my employees were out here with me walking, and they left, and I really don't even know where they went. So now I'm really kind of freaked out, because I'm kind of scared to go back and find my car or even finish walking by myself.
What company somewhere?
Eugene Police Department is really scary. And they won't release the videos so that people can see what they did. And there was multiple officers recording, and they won't release the videos. They're making excuses. I've had to pay exceptional amounts of money to try to get my videos released, and they still won't release them. They can't just keep taking people's lives, and they can't just keep making people afraid. And people have the right to privacy and the right to free travel. We have the right. This wasn't given to us by them. This was given to us by God. God gave it, and they can't take away what they didn't give. Just need help. I need help to get the videos. And anybody that can help me get those videos, please reach out. I just need to get the videos. My name is Shalene Mudd, and it happened April 17th, about 10:30 in the morning. And the incident didn't subside until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I just don't want to watch another person have to go through that. There's nothing more frightening than not being able to breathe and knowing that you could die.
Yeah.
And knowing that George knew he was gonna die. I know what that felt like. I understand how bad that was for him, how scared he had to be. Oh. Thank you.
Dude, I just watched every window get busted.
Here, I have 2.6 thousand, like, Eugene's watching this.
In your backpack?